Hello everybody! I set out to do a fairly hard to achieve task, and I didn't actually realize how hard it's gonna be until there were like 60 submissions on the last day of Vampire the Masquerade Jam. You see, what I absolutely wanted to achieve, and what I'm still very stubborn about achieving, is play all of the submissions of Vampire the Masquerade Jam. Thankfully, all of them are not of the same length. Some are shorter, some are very short, some are fairly long. So, the amount of videos that I will do will differ. Some games will be featured in one long video, and other games will have a video all to themselves. And the only factor deciding it is how long is the game to complete, start to finish. Now, because there's 88 submissions, yes, I want to be uploading at least one video a day. At least is probably also at most, for I can't actually go any faster than that, or I just do not have the recording time. So I have decided that what I'm gonna start from is compilation videos, aka videos that will showcase more than one game at the same time. So I was hunting for games on the shorter side, but you see, today is not a day when I can think. So instead, what I am starting with is games that are available in the browser. I will limit these videos to 1 hour, and if the game exceeds 1 hour, then you will see me change clothes, for I will probably continue recording tomorrow, or I have 1 day's worth of time that I can waste in non-recording because I've pre-recorded exactly one game in advance, so yay me! So if this video's Myrta has changed her outfit, you know why. It is because it was 6:30 a.m. and she went to have a nap before workday started. I am sorry for looking kinda disheveled as well. It is one of my headache days, and I am wearing a nice necklace that actually kinda helps with it, but it looks fairly odd with my top. That's why it is hidden. To keep my brain case from exploding, I am keeping it simple. So when I say keeping it simple, I put the whole Vampire the Masquerade Jam on plain browser, and I'm gonna start from left to right. This is not the order that people uploaded them in, so I am very sorry if you have to wait for quite a while until I play your game. I will get to them all. There's only 2 exceptions to that list, and I may as well point them out right now. One is a Vampire Soul Sucking Ooolala, because I do not believe that that game was made in good faith. They were trying to charge money for it before they were told that that's not allowed, and then people were noting that the executable is missing. And Vein Ripping a Vampire, for I do not have VR. I can't invent the VR which I do not have. Now, without further ado, let's go to Blooming Delirium by Shapuki Gemkai. I think that's what it is. It's uploaded under Shapuki. So Shapuki it is. Ooh. Nice music. Yes, yes. Oh, content warning. It includes depictions and mentions of murder, violence, manipulation, and non-healthy obsessions. It's a vampire game. I was just talking with my husband about how if you're running a Vampire the Masquerade campaign, it should feel a bit hopeless. It's just the setting. The setting is a bit hopeless. It's like walking through landmines, the role-playing game. So yeah, go for serious topics. The game you're about to start was created by two girls possessed by a blind love of vampires, monsters, and the underworld. Loaded with a lot of stress and almost no rest after deciding to create it just 4 days from the deadline. Holy shit, you two rock. Darkness devours anything that touches, mysterious and dangerous like a hungry beast. It follows you, smelling the fear coming out from your pores. It gets wilder and scariest, showing its fangs before the attack. Surrender into it. The night, something feels eerie. Oh, this night! I am so sorry if I don't read it correctly. Gotta understand, it's the middle of the night. Literally. That nameless feeling that I've been dealing with gets sturdy when the familiar path towards home appears in front of me. The strange building can be seen from several miles away. The dilapidated marks of time are already taking a toll on the surfaces, and the only thing that remains ethereal and immovable is the ancient metal door. The shining of the surface brings back my own reflection, and once again I can see my own face, impassive and expressionless, holding my gaze. I've been in this position every night for the past 12 years. The keys already on my hand, the moon shining over my shoulder, and the expectation of another plain night already seems humdrum. So why is it that somehow it feels different this time? Hesitating before getting the key on the rail, softly trembling, I take a breath, deciding if it's the right moment to step inside or not. Oh, the art. I don't even know if you're using stock pictures or not. If I admire the pictures, I admire the pictures. I'm gonna force myself to enter the apartment. Plunged into the aged familiar house with caution, the old furniture welcomes me while I left the keys and get rid of my coat. While I walk, while is a tiny bit of a weird thing to do, but not too bad. Inside, it remains so silent that the only other sound I could hear apart from the little steps on the floor, it's the one of my own breathing. Even if this place has been my house for a long time now, by nightfall, I'm still craving the feeling of home. But whimpering about my own loneliness is useless. I ward off the feeling. It's time for me to decide the way I'm about to spend the evening, so I evaluate my options. I'm gonna sound super romantic. I'd never had a backyard with roses, but it's an odd habit, but I decided to go to my backyard to check on the roses. Cold night breeze lashes my skin as I leave the warmth of the house and step into the garden where the soft herbal aroma whips my nose. It has been a while since the last time I worried about fixing whatever regarding the house, but with the roses, the matter is different. For a reason that I myself cannot understand, every night my steps lead me towards this place. Every night without a fail. My footsteps echo, I think, as I tread the damp dirt, and when I finally get a glimpse of the little roses in front of me, that strange feeling creeps up my throat again. Even though I'm able to admire their beauty, this isn't the main reason why I keep growing them in my yard. In fact, I can't find an actual reason for my enduring fascination towards roses. But thanks to what my mind persists of calling a strange coincidence, I have been forced to maintain the inquisitiveness about these particular flowers, slowly awakening some sort of obsession within me. Slowly I begin to prune flowers' imperfections one by one, taking a special care with the thorns, while my mind rambles around the numerous scenes that I witnessed where these roses end up involved. After a while, the moon rises higher in the sky, and the work seems to diminish under my fingers. Oh, to be a young maiden fleeing in the castle from all the Gothic romantic novel covers. Once again. But yeah, it's kind of giving me that romance novel vibe. I ain't hating it. I do like the corny, if I say so myself. I actually own a couple of pretty old cornies that I am gonna read whenever I have the time, which is probably not while I'm making jam games. Rather, while I'm reviewing jam games, but apparently I just found myself a novel, so it's fine. This isn't even a complaint, this is a praise. Well, let's keep observing the roses for a little bit more. The intense crimson hue of the flowers captures my attention, keeping me engrossed for another second. Its fragrance dancing playfully, as if taunting my rapture, and it's not until something alerts me by a low sound that I come out of my apparent reverie. Apparently, nothing in the garden has changed. My only company is still breeze and moonlight, but when I encourage myself to take a better look, the environment seems to have drastically changed, and the apparent feeling of ease that night gardening had given me vanishes in a sigh. Someone is watching me. I can feel it. Before I get up to investigate further, the sudden sound is heard again, and this time I can recognize it for what it is, a little chuckle. An unsettled heartbeat resonates on my insides, but before I can do or say anything, a strange silhouette looms, covering the moonlight that has accompanied me so far, turning off everything on my surrounds and throwing me into dark. Whichever one of you wrote this, please write a novel. I feel like you would actually be good at it. I can't decide whether I look more wrinkly with a lot of light or with less light. For some reason, I just look old today. It's one of those days. At the beginning, everything felt blurry, like a strange vision or a fever dream from which I have yet to discover how to wake up. It's unclear how did I get to this point. Darkness engulfed me in such a rush that the unnatural feeling of bewilderment was still impregnated on my bones. Definitely write a novel. Whichever one of you is doing this, definitely write a novel. I've opened my eyes a few minutes ago, still half-conscious. One by one my senses return to my body. I try to move my legs or flex my arm, but something stops me. It looks like I'm tied up. A familiar feeling began to arise, but even digging inside the depths of my mind, I can't recall it with accuracy. I try to relax and take a look at my surroundings. I seem to be in a fancy apartment in the downtown area of the city. The furniture and the bed with satin linen, where I'm currently tied up, reinforce this statement. And I do know that kidnapping, abduction, and sexual things ain't very sexual, but it's being very sexual to me right now. It's like somebody wrote one of them gothic romance novels aimed at women again. A gentle breeze slipped through the open deck, clearing my mind a little, and I decide to look. The rare symbol carved on the walls and the door. Delicately patterned decorated the edges of the panels and the ones of the big metal door, but there was barely any light to see it with detail. I'm good. I finally looked over the strange silhouette beside the balcony. I was so mesmerized by the sight that it took me a while to see the distant figure on the corner, right beside the balcony, and the old vase containing the object of my delusions. Seeing it there took me what looked like another lifetime, one far away from my simple routine and monotone life. Ending the curious drift of my gaze, I regained almost all consciousness and let out a loud sigh. These roses in the vase were the craving of my compulsion, the anthem of my deepest desire, the one I've dreamed of pursue but left untouched by the winds of normal existence. I wasn't crying when my parents died. In fact, I stared right into nothingness with calm when I opened the door and stepped into the carnage. All those many years back, so being held hostage in this strange loft made me realize that maybe something was indeed wrong with me, like everyone had said when I was 12 years old. And maybe I'm not making any sense right now, but if you bear with my memories for a while, you'll be able to see what an omen can do to a simple man. The banquet was exhausting for a child, grown-ups talking nonsense, food full of strange textures and forms, cloths that suffocated my little form, and the repetitive melody that surrounded the room were definitely the things that made me hate that party, even though I never let it show. I am reading how it was supposed to be written. I am sorry, author, but you, like a lot of people in this jam, have made mistakes writing your entry. I never let it show is not how you're supposed to form a sentence. But, I honestly feel like I am now doing a dramatic reading of a gothic novel, and I'm kind of really into it, so I don't actually care whether you have some minute mistakes. I kept the pose they taught me almost all evening and silenced my inner distress while I smiled when it was necessary. I was doing my best to be the perfect son they needed. So as customary, I escaped to my inner castle to bear with the situation at hand. My parents used to be heirs of some old, almost forgotten bloodline, but the truth was other than the big ancient house falling apart with every passing moon. The family was already in debt and living on what looked like charity from other rich folks. I later discovered that this made everyone in their social circle look at them like pariahs, and although none of them said any of this to their faces, the rumors and the resentment were growing fast. Dinner parties like this one were a common thing in my early life. I can hardly remember any of them, but this one was engraved in my memory like words carved into stone. This was the first time I saw them, or rather said the first time I really noticed them. The roses. You like them, little one? The voice brought me back to reality. Somehow I cannot remember the person who it belonged to, but I remember the quiet and calm melody of their voice. Two of these options are the same, just saying. I stared at the roses for another minute instead of answering. The stranger looked at me, expectant, but I remained silent. I could sense their eyes. The tension grew with every passing second, and I could swear I saw their smirk growing, but before I could turn around, another voice joined us. And just so you know, that paragraph had a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. James! My dad was quickly by my side. I'm sorry, Mr. Edwards. If he was rude to you in any way, I'm going to make sure. Oh, don't bother, Andrew. Somehow the stranger seemed to be delighted. This was the most enticing interaction I had all evening. He walked away while my father scowled me. Or at least that is what I think he was doing. The only thing left in my memory from that moment was the lingering gaze of the stranger. Adults always kept their distance as long as I carried myself with the dignity of a young man. Their gazes passed through me. Most of them never threw my way a second look. So why does the stranger act the way he did? Maybe it was the soothing feeling that followed the encounter with the stranger, or maybe it was the fact that before that moment I've never felt that kind of excitement. I never knew something that could be compared to the feeling of watching those roses in the middle of chaos while those tranquil words were spoken. Those roses were a beacon of light on an already empty life, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the roses were just the symbols or something deeper beyond my comprehension. I need to swallow by this point. It's quite a bit of reading. gonna be okay. You do have a throat. It's fine. The petals were slowly falling from the shattered urn. That's what I remember from that sadistic day. I did notice the blood and the wrenched faces of despair. I also noticed the crushed furniture and broken portraits. The signs of struggle were displayed like a work of art all over the place. But the shattered roses falling down were the convergence of it all. So I got lost in the fading moment before me while the dead bodies of my parents laid on the floor. I never imagined walking towards the house that such moment could exist. It has been such a peaceful day until the moment I stepped through the door. I've been lucky. I arrived when the massacre was over, so they told me, but truth be told, I was so strangely mesmerized by my delusions. I couldn't remember anything else but it. What came next was countless nights dreaming about that exact moment, but the nightmares they foreshadowed to materialize never came. Instead, they were replaced by the alluring memory and vague perfume of the roses. Replaying the moment in my head, the light chuckle of the present brought back what looked at the beginning like an illusion. But as time passes and I become more accustomed to the sound, I realized that it had been on every dream I still have about that uncanny day. That is, I definitely know that is one of the art pack pictures. I moved while trying to have a better glance at the shadow in the corner of the room, now being sure that it belonged to a person. Are you really going to stay quiet all night? His tone was somehow eager. You're not even a bit curious about all of this. His last sentence was more of a statement than a question. I sigh and wait for the man to continue. Oh wow, shaky. You're so serene even now, he was half laughing. You know I've seen you looking at the roses, he pointed towards them with his head. I know what you're thinking, the allure, he sighs. It's clear for me that you've been receiving my messages, so let me ask you something. His tone was serious and cold. Why do you keep on avoiding my offerings? I can feel his gaze fixated on me. The intensity of it all, plus the former statement, took me back to the signs I kept trying to avert, the images of many corpses filling my mind. Flashback assassinatos? What is an assassinato? The news reported the first body was found in a sketchy alley of the block. It was a young woman that had been reported missing just a few days ago. The crime scene gave nothing but to the detectives, and the case was quickly filled away as a cold one due to the lack of the evidence. I stumbled upon the article by mere chance, and while I had no valid reason for taking any kind of interest on it, the fact that this happened just a few blocks from where I lived kept replaying in my mind. Many mistakes here, but it's fine. When I found myself in front of that same alley, I began to question my sanity again, but I excused me by repeating the same lies as the ones from my parents' dead. I was attracted to the scene because of my past. I needed this for closure, for proving myself that monsters like the one that took my family away really existed. I was there out of sympathy. It wasn't some twisted delight. It wasn't, but when I saw the single petal hiding below the trash can, I knew I was lying. I really thought this was just a coincidence. With some bizarre reason, the petal evoked the same intense emotion from my past, one I can't describe it, and it can be described as fever. The second time around, I was already craving the feeling without even noticing it. When the news hit the tabloids, I tried to let it go like just another sad story, but it wasn't that easy. I found myself once again roaming around the park that witnessed the assassination. I wasn't expecting to find it, but my soul was hoping for it, and just like an augury for my frenzy, the petal was once again haunting the scene. 3, 4, 5, and 6. The time variated from one to another, could be weeks or months, but there was always one more corpse. One part of me kept finding excuses for the roses. There was no pattern on those. Sometimes they were complete, sometimes there was a single petal, but how could any of it be related to me? The effect those roses had on me were something so personal that even I had a difficult time just thinking about it. No one knew, no one but me. Me wandering between those crime scenes wasn't the cause of a next victim, so I couldn't be hurting anyone by pursuing alleged omen. I just needed visual confirmation every time it happened. I rambled around to validate my fixation, and then I tried to forget about it until the next one showed up. I was just seeing. It was natural curiosity. I'll never allow tracing down patterns or making assumptions about what might be happening, because what was happening had nothing to do with me. 7 to 20. As years passed, it was undeniable that the roses were a big part of it, but I kept myself out of the narrative as long as my sanity allowed me to. But one can't help but wonder, even if I try to restrain it, the mind drifts as it pleases. The struggle only grew with time, and I was trying my best not to fall down that path, because deep down I know once it begun, I wouldn't like the place I'll end in. They always say something was wrong with me, and with every rose followed, I did nothing but prove them right. You see now, I was always near, watching, waiting for your reaction. The possibilities were endless. Would you be terrified, baffled, confused? Or would you continue staring at the scenes the same way you did with those roses that many moons before? I passed countless nights thinking about it, captivated by the thought of it, but every time you amused me like the first time. Like that very first sight of a child savoring his parents' death and fusing it with the forbidden pleasure of the roses. Your symbol was just a way of reliving it, wasn't it? His excitement struck me with a massive force. Even though I can't deny I'm a little disappointed. With each gift I was a witness of the dilemma you were going through, but no matter how bemused you were, you never fell into what I expected. What we both expected, if I'm not wrong. It was difficult, isn't it? Seeing so many scenes, getting excited, delighted by the carnage, by something so outlawed and prohibited as murder, and still not being able to ignore it. Did you dream about acting on it, James? Getting the pleasure needed, being the one behind it? Are you going to untie me at some point of the night? I whisper. My own voice rings low into the ears, even though I'm able to feel my breath. Starting to shake, my voice remains serene. The smirk on his face just grows, and what it seems like a chuckle escapes through his lips. James, you're so... I can tell by his tone that he finds all of this situation hilarious, even comical. Despite the fact that I've interrupted him in the middle of his monologue, he doesn't seem bothered. And to my own surprise, it doesn't take long for him to get even closer in order to free my limbs from the ropes. Once free of the ropes, I rub the reddened skin to relieve the friction and the strings caused onto my wrists. I turn to look at the man who is walking towards the balcony again, seemingly too unconcerned about my recently acquired freedom to even turn his back at me. Maybe it's a consequence of the deep conversation we just had, more precisely the conversation he just had, but he seems overconfident, as if he has no doubt about me not wanting to escape. This man may know me too well, or he may not know me at all. Oh, I've never been captured by a murderer and accused of enjoying murder. This is a first for me, and I gotta say, really sexy in some very, very, very bizarre fashion. I'm not going anywhere anymore. Despite the situation, I remained calm, just following the silhouette of the man across the room with my eyes. He was passing around aimlessly while looking at me, maybe waiting for me to react. I'll entertain myself with the paintings. Turn my back to the man and begin wandering freely in front of the symmetrically positioned canvases, trying to control my overwhelming emotions, let myself immerse into the masquerade world before my eyes. You really are something else, James. The chuckling voice was demanding my attention. Your serenity is astounding. You'll be one hell of a killer. His yearning made me look at him. I'm not a killer. Oh, but you are my darling. He walks right to me with a swift move, an impossible one for any human being I ever meet. In a matter of seconds, the nameless man is mere inches from my own face. That alluring essence that captivated you wasn't just a dull flower. I was so hypnotized by the man's immovable gaze that took my breath away. It's hard to read the text correctly while seeing all the mistakes at the same time, but I'm managing it. It was that vital fluid dripping down from the ground, the cruel slaughter that you witnessed. It's what took you to the edge of ecstasy. Those roses were just a symbol of your bliss. He then looked down to my lips, and even if I try, I don't have the appropriate words to describe the sentiment that arises in me. All that searching was just you still trying to relive that moment, wasn't it? In the same quick motion that he approached, he was gone before I could speak. You don't have to hide it anymore, James. Looking at you now, I can see it. It was now in his original position. What can you see? I whisper expectantly. That you're everything I envisioned. The smile on his face sent me down the path I've been trying to deny until now. What are you? I managed to murmur in the middle of my bewilderment. I'm everything you're looking for. Can't you see it, James? My name on his lips was like a fragrance that kept hooked on the crime scenes for countless years. Oh, please, yes, author. I can't grant you the world as you please. I can fulfill your wildest dreams and hand out to you your deepest desires. If you say yes to me, only that word, a simple word, and I'll show you what an eternity as kindred looks like. Kindred? What you know as vampire, my dearest? A son of Cain? Just say the words and I'll hand you my paradise. My mind was still rambling, but decision had to be made. I'm not able to deny my desires anymore. Yes, I said, after years of running away, embracing my darkness was as simple as that. His gaze enlightened as my words were spoken. As he graciously approached, shortening the distance between us, our eyes never broke apart. The magnitude of it all sent an electrifying feeling all the way down to my bare core and made my heart rise its pulse with anticipation. His touch lingers on me when he softly traces my skin with the tips of his fingers, caressing my lips, bounding my shape with the weight of his hands. I remain silent while he licks my collarbone, making his way up to my neck, and loses himself in the depths of the moment. A weak moan escapes my lips. For the second, the piercing sensation engulfed my senses, a feeling of elation running through my veins as my consciousness drifts into oblivion. Welcome home, love, as the man slices my wrist and kisses me with hunger. I realized the craving of a home was long gone. Ending 1. Welcome to Death's Garden. Will you burn down when I ignite the torch? Black Veil Brides. Credits. Story by Jemsy and Shapuki. Friendship Studios. Music. Emotional original soundtrack by Magmi Soundtracks, SoundCloud. Image provided by Pexels and World of Darkness official art. This game was created using Twine 2. Special thanks to our own Wendigo Sihyun. This couldn't be possible without you. And to our Morning Star and spiritual guide, the Lord of the Abyss. Thanks for playing our game. Morning Star? Lucifer? Honeys? Are you following the same religion that I am? Because if you are, this is kind of weird. Anyways, I am gonna let the music stop right now. There were some spelling mistakes. I hope that I've done the story justice. And if you want the other endings, go please play these games yourselves. I am just here because I really want to show them off. That is literally the only reason I didn't want these games to be remaining unplayed. I want all of them to be played. I want them to be appreciated. I want them to be tasted. And this has been a very delicious story. It read like a romance novel. And I think both of you should like drop the game making and go to writing some romance novels and then maybe pitch them on my Twitter because I will probably buy them. That was delicious for as far as sexual tension and murder goes. So yeah, you're getting the vampire genre correctly. So that has been Blooming Delirium. Please give them a round of applause, I guess, and go and play the game yourself. I am leaving the link in the description. You don't even need to download this one because we are going through plain browser games right now. Let's go to Project Morgue by Poison Mara. Ooh, very pretty. Very pretty, but no information whatsoever. It's text-based. Stats, restart, achievement settings. This game was created as part of Vampire the Masquerade Game Jam. Events portrayed in this game are non-canon within World of Darkness universe. Let's go to the game. Glimpse into the inner workings of a small rogue hunter cell and experience the conflicts as hunters and vampires try to work together. 2 playable characters and 4 playable clans. You can press on the load bar and it progresses. I am not entirely surprised, for it is a text bar. I mean, it is a text game. There isn't really much to load here. Chinatown, Los Angeles, CA, the worst damn alley. There are no angels left in the... I hope I didn't burn my sleeve just now. There are no angels left in the den of iniquity. A slim hand shaped like a pianist's flails angrily while holding a dark, damp cigar, a foul-reeking smell everywhere. You know what? Because this game doesn't actually have the sound, let's relaunch Blooming Delirium so that we have some background noise looping around. I hope Blooming Delirium doesn't really mind for working itself into Project Morgue. Can you at least stop smoking in the vigilante ban? Vigilance ban. What? This is gonna be a hard read for me. You say as you clench your fist unconsciously and then open it again. You know this alliance with the radical Catholics is needed. Olivia scowls as she gazes at her cigar like an old Hollywood diva would. The black smoke drifts around you as if it's cursed incense. Sometimes I wish we could descend in a blaze of holy glory over this puddle of sin and filth, riddling humanity of this garbage. Hatred shines in her blue eyes. Look around you. You look around as she commands, not knowing why, carefully your gaze through the smoked glass of the surveillance van, while you try to close your nose to the stinky smell of moisture-ridden tobacco infesting the van. You finally sigh, looking tiredly to your St. Leopold counterpart. Wicked neon words are mirrored in the dirty puddles of booze and vomit in one of the narrow alleys of Chinatown, Los Angeles. Say you're home. You look at your watch, it's midnight already. You taste your black coffee. Damn, it's as cold as ice. We're alive then? I thought you, Leopold Society members, were saints and all that, I confessed, pointing accusingly at her smelling stick of death. And I thought that all government agents are assholes! 100 years of existence, not a single agent was able to detect a single supernatural until last year. You have all the money in the universe. At least we have been aware of the obvious, which you were not. Her comment exuding the same disdain reflects in her face, turning into a mask of pure hatred, framed by her thick eyebrows almost joining into a unibrow. 2 instant coffees later. Your partner fondly grasps her worn rosary of tiny pearls, caressing it like it were a living being. A strange aura surrounds her with a subtle and generous warmth, like a cup of tea that your grandmother gives you when you have a cold. I thought that the soldiers of the Order of Leopold were all saints who could not. Olivia bashes you, interrupting by yelling, "You have the gal! An unbeliever coming in and trying to lecture me, it's ridiculous! I didn't try to bash you, you try in vain to calm your comrade. No, our sacred order says nothing about smoking. Drugs that alter the perception of consciousness are forbidden, but not tobacco. The smell of tobacco smoke helps mask the scent of vampire or werewolf butcher shops, or the odor of human skin charred by magical fire." Genuine emotion fills Olivia's face for the first time, giving her a fragile, almost human look. With a grunt, she leaves her rosary on the folding table. This is full of ashes and junk food. "Agents, the time to start the assault has arrived. I remind you again, you cannot kill the target." The Joint Mission Commander's voice is serious and firm, but at the same time passionate. Oh god. Sorry, authors of these projects, you try reading non-stop for a while. It gets really dry in here. The fierce will of Sergio Costello spreads through the radio. "We cannot silently and discreetly alert the so-called vampires of the Morgue mission. Command officer out." "Affirmative, sir!" Both of you chorus like you were one soldier ready for action. I have to admit that despite his reputation of being a cowboy, your commanding officer is sufficient and serious, almost like a member of Leopold Order. You smile while you prepare your combat equipment, buckling every strap and securing the Kevlar anti-bullet vest. You observe your weapon and other arcane objects that were science fiction fantasies until 2 years ago under UV light. Vampires and werewolves in the home of the free sounded like nonsense. You focus on your skillful companion like a big cat hunting a wildebeest. First time I've seen you worship something American. Anyone would say you like Sergio. Your companion snorts as if she wears the Leopold unit trench coat. "Please, you have to see it from our perspective. We were fighting alone under the command of the Holy Order, and in less than 2 years, modern agencies raided our bases and proposed new methods. It is difficult for old souls like us to learn new tricks. Yankee, this is your city now. How do you prefer we approach the next fight?" For a moment you remain silent, pondering the possibilities you have within the framework of the project. Protocol opens up 3 options for us. First, there's sniping from the roof the building across the street. One of us enters a customer while the other enters through the back door of the business. And there's the option of entering by assault, I suppose, Olivia concludes, staring into your eyes, moving her hands, cleaning and preparing her weapons. Finally, she adds, as if in a whisper, "We imitate some common thieves during the assault, although the option of breaking in and pretending to be a thief has never been attractive to me. Too much collateral damage for such an option. But without a doubt, it is the fastest and easiest method to cover up," you conclude thoughtfully. 3 options in your first mission command as an exercise against the blank corpses festering over the USA citizens. Let's go with sniping. "Affirmative, Yankee. Be careful if he is a vampire. The bloodsucker demon may have ghouls or even humans in nearby buildings. But I can't think why a vampire would work as a salaryman in a dump like this, because not all of them are very smart, you know. Some of them got to make their dough. When you hear about undead, you hear about all of the nice Draculas and castles, and not your poor Tommy McTom-Tom that gets to be the Dracula's maid." The smell of Chinese food, pollution, and the cheap perfume of the nearby night workers paint a flowery picture in your mind in the cold November breeze. Your boots echo on the pavement as if you were a kid jumping into nearby puddles with your rubber boots. Your boots. 2 boots in 1 sentence. Oof. I have to focus on the matter at hand. I will protect my people. A private alley on the on the right side of your destination has a fire escape with direct access to the roof and direct view of our objective. Let's focus on being undetected. The rusty metal ladder slips flimsy under the weight of all your gear as you try to forget the smell of rust and dog piss surround you, making the ascent hell. The roof of the building purrs thanks to the sound of old air conditioning machines. Oh, I love my building when they purr. more solely, but otherwise offers you a clear view of the objective and the entire surrounding area. You take a deep breath while preparing your weapon with strange needle darts. Olivia, have you been told what the fuck goes in the ammo? You snort through your communicator. That shit is designed in your labs. We use incendiary bullets on impact and stakes. Trying to catch a live bloodsucker is a risk that no one in their right mind should take, but it's not our mission as soldiers to discuss orders, but to carry them out. The next few minutes pass as you place your weapon in position and control the details of the area. Nobody except your objective moving about, totally oblivious to your presence. Your fingers sweat inside your leather and Kevlar gloves. Everything is human and calm in gestures of the objective, a young worker in the Knights of Los Angeles. And it's my duty, and without thinking about it, you prepare to fulfill your duty with the people of the United States of America that you swore to protect. Agent 1 in position, ready. I don't know what my objective is. I have the objective clear in my scope, a tech janitor in a repair computer shop. Old 80s devices crowd the shop like an ode to failure. A pyramid of beta videos hides your view of the blank body. You stare for a while, maybe a minute, at your target, a youngster cloaked in a white hoodie covered by a white hood. It barely reveals a millimeter of skin. It is impossible to know if it's human or not. You watch it drink a good chug of soda focused on a computer. The target swallows Chinese food. Only a tiny percentage of thin blood can eat. You sigh, watching your right hand tremble, feeling the weight of your weapon on your consciousness. The information is wrong, it has to be. Come on, Yankee, shoot! What are you waiting for? Olivia, I don't think he's a vampire. The way he moves and breathes. Wait, I think I have a thermal sight. If you have to check, do it fast, Yankee. Timing is crucial. Critical! Under these conditions. Come on, we can read me. Suddenly you turn away from your weapon, feeling the increasingly pressing sensation that someone is watching you from the shadows. If you do not imagine it, click of gun echoes from one of the air conditioners. I was hoping you would shoot your objective without so many moral guts, Agent 1. But thank goodness I have soldiers who obey orders without thinking. Good night, soldier! Sergio's harsh, passionate voice is the last thing you confused brain registers before the hypnotic dart takes effect in your bloodstream. And a kick in the head. Oh. A lot of reading. I gotta say one thing. What comes to my mind's eye, especially with choices like I have my target in sights and they're this in this building, is a very interesting idea for a game where you paint the picture as you go along. You're not just participating in a story, you're actively creating the story. At least that's what it feels like, and I gotta be honest, I enjoy that sensation. Los Angeles secret location, Morgue project complex. Sergio observes the rest of the massive bunker created from his carpeted top for other wars. And that now will light the new beginning for humanity, stronger and free of mythological creatures or whatever those genetic monsters and beasts are. The doorbell rings, alarming the man, short recording computer. Sergio bangs his massive mahogany table again angrily. He feels the pain as an incentive to continue his crusade for new humanity with new capabilities. A new dawn is near, and nobody will get in his way. Go ahead, and the soldier adds with apprehension before one of the creatures of the night enters his office like an arrogant leech. Control yourself, Sergio. It's all for the greater good of saving humanity, so you do this. Interesting expectations you bring me today, Sergio, especially the woman. Pure jackpot. What's so special about the Vatican jacket? It shows that you're new to the crusade. The voice remains low for a moment, disdainful for the mortal on the other side of the office. Believe in a creed, her convictions, the force driving her, giving her the power to realize feats that can harm a natural. Well, Thin Blood, I need your preliminary report before proceeding to the final testing phase of the Morgue project. Wow. Okay, interesting. So you can be Olivia. You can be Hunter. Or you can be a random youngster the computer AI selected. I am intrigued by the situation. Previous target as playable character. I'll check Olivia. Leopold Society has been very reluctant to give us data on any of the soldiers in this country. The worker says timidly. They don't trust me, and for good reason. The Vatican is as devious as it is patient in acting. A predatory smile nesting on the general's sharp, handsome face. But you promised that you and your Duskborn Misfits group could get info at the lab after the shift last night. The small pale figure becomes even more insistent, almost as if every word from Sergio was a whiplash. We can, but we haven't seen a hunter with such strong creed for a long time. We're talking about a faithful martyr in the making. Sergio turns around and looks at the hive of laboratories and barracks below his office. All of these are his kingdom and his responsibility, the opportunity for humanity to dominate the planet for the first time. No one is gonna hinder my destiny. Use the blood of the Ancilla warrior Asamite that we obtained in the east on her. Banu Hakim, sir? That is the actual name. Who cares the names Blank Corpses uses? Their age is coming to their last night setting way, I will, and the new humanity will prevail. Olivia silently watches as the whole conversation begins to wake up and prepare something, but that's not what she fears the most. Yankee, can you hear me, Yankee? Olivia, where are we? My head hurts. You say, trying to remember. All you can recall is you trying to kill a target. Olivia giggles sadly as her eyes go off. Come on, kid. Don't you feel it in your body? Thirst. How your breathing becomes slower and slower. We're guinea pigs for Sergio's conspiracy. I should have followed my old mentor advice against leaving my old cell and joining this joint groupie conspiracy. Olivia moves almost as if bloody, practically homicidal frenzy possesses her to kill everyone in the compound. What do you mean? He sighs. I know you American cells are new to this. Until a year ago you were small, autonomous conspiratorial groups at best, but you're a hunter, Yankee. You have to feel the poisonous vampire blood within us. I'm interested in the no, it can't be true, I can't believe it because of the 009. What does 009 stand for? You has been a real hunter for a while, what? Stop behaving like a child and accept the truth. We have been inoculated with vampire blood. If it is anger and the desire to revenge forward that guides you, follow that determination. You both remain deadly silent, observing the concrete, and lead the infirmary you are locked from is armored from. A mask of determination and purpose fills Olivia's features as she prays with her rosary. Your blood burns inside you as if rusty tattoo needle were ripping you from the inside. What's wrong, Olivia? As my first instructor said in my first cell of the order, once the poisonous blood enters your system, you have a few hours, but the result will always be the same. You will lose your soul and everything that makes you human. A single injection, it is done? Just over? Yankee, if you were expecting sunshine and rainbows, why the hell did you join a group of hunters? None of them reaches retirement age and goes to Florida. Olivia approaches you almost until your noses collide. Faint whisper slides like silk in your ears. I'm not going to die without taking the traitors ahead of me. For now, let's play along, but when the time comes, I hope that be next to me. Some of these sentences really weird, and I'm not entirely sure what's happening. Okay, 1 out of 17 achievements. You has been a real hunter for a while. What? 4 different creatures, thin bloods. The word floats in your mind of how bizarre the situation is. You were escorted by 2 soldiers of the unit completely covered in black and faceless ski masks and with empty gestures of expression as if something has absorbed their emotions, leaving an empty shell. Weaknesses. And who are you? The Undertaker's band, Olivia says, getting up from her stretcher, ready to launch herself into combat against the blank corpses. Her face is a mirror of sheer determination. You can almost see the gears moving in her mind, driven by her fierce determination. Determination! Don't do that, people. If you're writing a story, make sure that your words don't repeat between sentences that are at least right next to each other, because that reads really weirdly. The veteran hunter preparing for her final fight. The kindred, and these ungrateful thoroughbreds, attacked our studios even before the fucking nightmare shift. The youngest of the 4 Twilight people mumbles. Pfft, Olivia snorts, spitting at the strange young woman with cowboy boots and a weird dinosaur hat from a nearby museum, almost a girl in appearance and all the malice of centuries in her red-hot ember eyes. Studies! Are you in elemental vampirism, half-blood trash? I can smell you not pure vampires for leagues. Vatican trash, bitch! You're now as corrupt as any of the predators you killed for breakfast. The cowgirl's voice howls as she holds a compact little regulation pistol. There we go, not the regurgitation pistol. That would be weird. You pointed at somebody and they vomit. Sergio's harsh voice echoes through the loudspeakers. Sonora, if you shoot and hinder the test, you and your stupid conspiracy of the 4 of the apocalypse will be purged. Ah! You burst out, hurt by the betrayal. I'm having a hard time following, but it's fine. Also, I swear I selected Olivia. The young woman's gaze is strangely lost, but at the same time profound, as if she could access a higher world. Oh, the young hunter is lost in the center of the hurricane, in the middle of a scale vampire or hunter. A resonant, mild, and sinister laugh transforms her face into a kind of Wiccan porcelain doll. Leave the kid, Sonora. Whatever happens is going to die or not be a threat in less than a day. Sonora looks you up and down. Maybe. So I can smell destiny on them. It tastes like bubblegum and lithium. I think we're angry at Sergio for putting us in the same squad as a vampire? You naive brat, and for that I will forgive your insolence, the old general says in soft tone, contrasts with his usual fiery voice. Tell me, haven't you taken an oath when entering the cell, Max? You nod, not knowing where to look as you repeat the oath you swore at the beginning of your training just 6 months ago. I promise to give my life in advancement and protection of the human race. I swear to become a paladin, a shield of the defenseless against the existence of supernatural entities. I will sacrifice my body and my soul to make humanity advance towards its new golden dawn. Exactly, you will be the key to what you promised, to give your life to the new dawn in humanity. Now accept to sacrifice yourself for the cause, as you are sworn to do. Subjects Olivia and Max 2 hours ago were inoculated with a dose of blood from 12th generation of vampires from Camarilla clans. What clans? Olivia asks out of insatiable curiosity. You can't help but recognize the same desire in yourself. Shut up, Carrie, and you're just another addition to our circulatory system. You will find out when the time comes. I do not want to spoil the moment. You finally lift your gaze and confront 3. You wouldn't know how to describe them. An innocent, normal human being would call them perhaps quirky and bizarre, but still human. But you can see the monster inside him, crouching inside his carcass of flesh like a worm feeding on rotting flesh. Flesh, 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 flesh. Your gaze is focused on the creature that has spoken to you, and his skin reminds you of an albino lizard that you saw at the Los Angeles Zoo when you were a child, scaly and purulent, and behind the hood of his wide black sweatshirt, a human face but with sunken eyes and pale as if his features were etched in melting wax. Either you accept your fate as guards for hybrid humanity or you will die. Sonora imitates the tone of a children's tune. At the end of the day, you cannot go back. Tick-tock, the clock sinks and the blood rules. Tick-tock goes the clock, even for the doctor. The tests that will face tonight of the embrace, and if you are not dust on your way out, you will be our brothers. Brothers. They will be kindred, not exactly brothers, but they will serve us against the anarchs, the most serious and average woman in the group says dryly. But you will not be alone in this. The victim of your attack, also converted, will serve as a differentiating control of the capabilities of Hunter compared to a young student from a prestigious university. The voice of the general of the group is heard against thunderously in a tiny infirmary room. Time is running out and we are a bit behind schedule. Get out of the room and give them 10 minutes to prepare before the experiment starts. You look at each other knowing that each word, each gesture would be recorded and analyzed by entire cell. Olivia kicks her stretcher, throwing it with incredible force, and scream as fury resounds through the room, almost as if it were a small earthquake. As a cell of hunters has been able to make a pact with the vanguard of vampires and one of the circulatory systems that enslave and transform humans. Calm down, Olivia, we have to. There's nothing because... Calm down. Don't you feel the vampirism worm gnaw our soul until only the thirst for blood remains? Right, I'm just trying to follow the plot. So... we're Hunter. And Olivia is a member of Leopold, which is also a hunter, but a holy hunter. Let's just put it like this. And our boss sold us out to vampires? And now we're undergoing a test, I think. There's a certain poetic beauty in the situation. You could write a good drama about this in our Revenge on Sergio. Oh, welcome to the Cool Clan. The boogeyman? We have to calm down. I think the vampire blood is starting to affect us. The embrace is starting. Get ready for the first test. Echoes through the small room as the door opens with a groan. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, MXs, the first testing room. I love to call the boogeyman. I am Sonora, your dusk-born of confidence. Look at the camera feed. There are 3 individuals, each sitting on a chair with a switch. One of the 3 chairs have an explosive attached to the next chamber. Sonora points to the screen like a TV contest host. Here are 2 innocent humans that we use in our circulatory service cell. You have 30 minutes to choose the one you want to activate. This quest doesn't make any sense. Why should we care? You don't give a damn about destroying my life. The college student yells angrily. Oh, don't be a party pooper. To make it more fun, you can ask the people in the chairs, although if you save the innocent, they will die, so I would not believe them. Don't you forget something, Sonora. A tall and slender figure with silver hair appears on the screen. You're right, Silver. On the table, you have an experimental tablet attached to the biorhythms of each one. It has no internet connection or way of calling anyone, but it will serve you with the internal network of this place and measure your state and development. The show will not start until you have them in your position. Okay. To embrace anyone, you have to drain them of their blood first. Kinda Vampire the Masquerade Rules 101. Otherwise, if you just like inject vampire blood into somebody, you're just gonna make them a ghoul, not even a vampire. Just gonna state this. Secondly, this place reminds me of Vampire the Masquerade Chinese facility. But I am having real trouble trying to draw like an image of my mind as to what is happening. So I vaguely think that we have to like select the right person from like 3 and then the others die, but yeah, it's a bit hard to visualize, honestly. You look at Olivia and the victim. He looks at you with his big eyes, trying to discern who and what you are. There is an unconscious hostility in each of his movements. You turn your gaze, focusing on the screen, showing what is happening on the 2 similar chambers. So far all quiet in the chamber of the 3 chairs. I'm not a monster for you to observe me, as if you're not in the same situation, at least not yet. My name is Max. Excuse us, Max. I'm Olivia and my partner is Max. What? Olivia says in a voice as sweet as it is fake, the movement of her hands as if she wanted to suffocate him slowly. You smile when you hear Olivia calling you out by your name instead of Yankee, trying to somehow to maintain the fake appearance of kindness. You sigh when you see that the big red time marker has already started of its backward march. This is going to be incredibly difficult, my stomach roars. We have to do something to get out of here. Any suggestions? I do not understand why we should not care if the innocent die. We're not the cause of their death. It's not our responsibility. Olivia spits at Max's feet. Damn monster. Here you are, the only one of who is behaving irrationally is you. What makes us believe that what our kidnappers say is true? Maybe that alleged innocents are murderers and not even alive to begin with. I'm in the first year of UCLA and network engineering, Max adds with great pride. There's now multiple people in the room named Max. I think. Irritated replies it's not for nothing, but we don't have time to go over your job resume. Name. $sign name. I think something bit broke on your side, by the way. I'm not entirely sure you wanted a $sign name there. You two know a lot about my job resume, enough to attack me. You stop a minute and you look through the glass, trying to contain yourself. We were fooled. They told us you were blank, a vampire. He sighs, king to the void. If you can divert their attention enough so that they do not notice my actions, I can use the device that they have attached to us to observe the network and electronic connections and stop this madness, or at least I think so. I'm not particularly eager to trust Olivia whispers to you as low as possible. Can hear you, motherfucker. Monster, look in the mirror, sweetie. You are more of a beast than me. I have never attacked innocent night shift workers. How dare you, vampire scum? Well, just, you know what? Whatever you're doing, Max, just do it. You're making a terrible mistake, Yankee. Don't let the guilt over the attack lead you to be too benevolent, whatever it was. Which, I hear you, what if you look inside you're dissatisfied as I am, or more, so let me do any my magic while you scream like a sneaky orangutan at the screens, or something like that. Stop, you two, already. You scream, physically getting between them. I will feast with all your demonic blood. No, Olivia. Yeah. Too much reading. Swift fighter versus swift fighter. Her feral violence is powerful, but there is no intelligence behind the vacant eyes of the beastly Olivia. In combat, the muscles and skeleton moving in lightning choreography, there is an inherent beauty. You perceive the light, the scent of blood, and the sweat. All it is like a poem without lyrics. You are paralyzed for an instant by the intensity of raw beauty. Blood gushes from your neck, emanating a syllable sound. Hypocritical whore, Max screams, trying to attack the attention of the feverish Olivia long enough for you to focus on healing your wounds. Focus, I have to focus, not knowing how Max disappears in plain sight and Olivia remains disoriented. In Max's hands there is an improvised wooden stake taken from the remains of the table, broken into 1,000 pieces. Olivia, please, you cry out with all the passion and feeling, and almost like a mirage, the beast inside Olivia's body, licking its claws, watches you spellbound, almost as if you were singing a lullaby. Here, take this. In one fluid movement, Max reappears, hitting an unsuspecting Olivia in the chest over and over again, until only ashes scattered throughout the room remained. Max, stop! Sergio's voice rumbles powerfully through the radio. The more one clings to what they have lost, the more they ignore what they can gain. For once you sound almost like Sonora, saying, "Keep talking like that and people will stop considering you the cursed Duskborn with the Mulcavian gift," the hoodie guy jokes. And you stop doing the Nosferatu with your long sweatshirt and the Halloween mask of melted ice that you wear, Sam. You only have the skin of a corpse, no need to hide. Okay, yes, one can have fun behind the mask and hood, an ordinary undead youth with a sharp nose and sarcastic eyes. Jackson easily bites her fingers, surprised at how sharp her fangs are. After a snort of impatience, he adds, "How about we focus on the matter we're in? Observe the effect of your actions." In the chamber of the alleged victims, a smoking mass of blood and viscera scattered in all directions, the only thing that indicates that there was human life there. The counter on the wall visibly marks 0. Death, death, and destruction, and all that you have caused, Sergio bellows dramatically. He screams as if he were the announcer of a radio serial. "No, I have not tried anything. You have been the ones who have been set those people in a trap for no other reason than to play experiments with us. I am as much of a victim as they are." Your vision is centered on the two screens, with the supposedly slaughtered innocents and the criminals sitting comfortably in their chairs, hunger each one of them resonating to a different note and color like an instrument to be refined in a dance. "Hey Max, stop salivating for food and answer the question." "Question? What question?" "It does not matter in a certain way. You have answered the question," Silver responds with a playful laugh. As a pirate would say, you go straight for the plunger. "Damn fickle beings, always talking in riddles and jokes. Humanity is trying too hard to put up with these stupid antics." Sergio's voice on the monitor is Sergio's face on the monitor is scarlet red. You can almost see the smoke coming out of his ears, like in the cartoons you watched as a small child on Saturday mornings. "Something is wrong," Sylvia whispers. "Something dangerous is approaching. I feel it in my gut." What? Okay, so I'm playing as somebody called Max. And I'm gonna agree with Max. So I'm playing as Max and I'm Max. This is not confusing at all. Well, something is coming. Maybe you're an asshole, you still owe me a big for attacking me at my job. How about the Vietnamese dinner? You offer up, remembering how dollar side him one attacked. "Ha, how amusing considering our condition. You better invite me to a blood bank instead," Max replies, laughing at your naivete. Boom. Sergio's image on the screen is pure fury. His negativity spreads like a miasma throughout the crowded room. "What the hell is going on? Communicate, people." The responding voice sounds loud and clear through the speakers. Multiple shots from helicopters and drones, and it seems that armed soldiers are spread around the outer perimeter of the general bunker. "Damn it, answer me, situation report." Only an eerie silence and distant noises of artillery response to Sergio's urgent call. Okay, so we killed Olivia. I'm named Max. Somebody else in this room is also named Max. People are sometimes #$. We are trapped here by a guy called Sergio, and there are helicopters on the outside. And I don't particularly want to read this text because I don't feel like it would make anything clearer. So let's just talk with the victims about the explosive device, I suppose. "It's like I can feel their energy and mood. The resonance," Olivia says, almost beating you with her fists. "You're one of them. We both are, and there's only one solution for that. You knew it when you joined the Hunters, Yankee." You sigh. "You feel alive, or at least more alive than ever. Everything around you shines in a different light. It's almost as if you had been turned centuries ago, not 6 months ago. 6 months ago? You walk around avoiding Olivia's penetrating gaze. I do not know your Max, but I have not taken an oath, nor have I asked anyone to be involved in this shit. You got me, but I still don't want to die. Your bosses were corrupt and lied to you, forging your chains and not breaking them. You served them as if you were a slave. So Olivia died, and now Olivia's alive. This is a fever dream by now. I'm just gonna agree with Olivia and let's commit seppuku. You sigh. In any case, I have taken an oath to protect the human species, a species to which no longer belong. First Light will never let you live. Oh, we know, but Yankee here has proven himself to be faithful martyr and hunter, and I'm sure he will join so many of his fallen brothers and sisters in our centuries-long struggle. Olivia, what are you talking about? Are you trying to scare me? Watch as a thin blood tries to escape from Olivia. Your body shines like sun rising at dawn, burning you as if you're a log of wood burning in a crematorium. Agony is the last thing you feel, and there is nothing but ashes and eternal silence. I'd rather never play this again because I am confused. So, Project Morgue. I don't know what I've read, but I did read it for 45 minutes. But I still have no idea what the fuck it was. That is not a good sign. I think what happened is that for some reason, your ex didn't hold up all that well. I think something must have been playing out of sequence, names were missing, I was Max speaking with Max. You use a lot of words to paint the picture, but if the picture is not putting itself together in my mind, it falls through. Try less words, but more accuracy next time around. In comparison to the previous game that we had here, Blooming Delirium was very easy to understand. Even when everything was not revealed from the start. Well, Project Morgue, I'm very confused. I am very confused, and that's confusion, the game. I would give Blooming Delirium 4 out of 5 for spelling mistakes, but in reality I would probably still rate it 5 out of 5 because I am normally forgiving like that and because I did enjoy it. Somebody put in a lot of effort, even with the spelling mistakes. Project Morgue, I have to give a 2 out of 5 for you did try, honey, but I cannot understand what I just played. And that is an issue. Both games are in the description down below. If you can make sense out of Project Morgue, please leave me a very long and angry comment because I like knowing games. And this is how it's gonna go from now on. I will be recording like an hour and something segments and trying to put in as many games into them as possible so that we're not taking 80 days because I don't know which developer actually wants to wait 80 days until their game is played. I am gonna assume none. Therefore, I am gonna try playing them in full through as few episodes as possible. Woo! The only difference for this will be that I know that some of the games that were made were pretty long and pretty well made, so if we're seeing something pretty long and pretty well made, it's receiving its own episode. Otherwise, sorry guys, you're gonna probably get into compilation with some other game, but hey, I can timestamp. Thank you for watching. I hope that you're gonna join me for the rest of the series, because we're playing them all. And please do go and give a look-see at the people's games. Please give them a play. everyone tried their best, and they made a game, and that should be an achievement. It should be seen as an achievement, and we should enjoy each other's creations. That's what it is. So thank you for watching, and see you the next time. Toodaloo.